Good morning, good people. Your potential is not predetermined, it's unlocked by process. Let me say it again so it settles deep into your spirit. Your potential is not predetermined, it's not fixed, it's not decided by your background, your bank account, your zip code, or your last mistake. No, your potential is like a seed, packed with greatness, full of life, but invisible until it's nurtured. And just like a seed, it doesn't matter how rich the soil is if you never take the time to plant it, water it, and wait. I remember a season in my life where I thought maybe I had missed it. And I had dreams, sure. I had ambition, maybe. But I didn't have results. I looked around at other people succeeding and thought, maybe they just got lucky. But let me tell you something I learned the hard way. Success isn't found, it's forged. There's no such thing as a chosen few. What there is a disciplined few. A few people who are willing to go through the process of becoming, not just dreaming about success, but enduring the difficulty, the disappointment, the delay. See, the process is where potential becomes power. Everybody wants the promise, but few are willing to embrace the process. It's in the process where your character is formed. It's in the process where your mindset gets sharpened. It's in the process where you learn to keep showing up even when it doesn't look like it's working, because you're no longer moved by circumstances, you're moved by calling. You don't unlock your potential by sitting on your couch waiting for clarity. You unlock it by moving forward in faith. You unlock it by taking messy action, by failing forward, by learning the lesson and showing up the next day anyway. You unlock it by deciding that who you can become is more important than who you've been. Some of you are praying for elevation, but you're resisting preparation. But God is not a genie. He's a gardener. And he's not going to elevate what you're not willing to cultivate. Your gift may make room for you, but your process builds the foundation that keeps the room from collapsing. So if you're in the middle of the mess, good. That means you're in the middle of the making. You're in the gym where greatness is shaped. You're in the forge where steel is strengthened. You're not late, you're becoming. Your potential is waiting on the other side of your process. The only question is, will you trust it? Will you walk through it? Will you keep showing up even when the applause is silent and the reward is still in the distance? Because on the other side of that process is a version of you this world desperately needs to meet. You don't get better by accident, you get better by intention. Nobody stumbles into greatness. You don't accidentally wake up one day and find yourself living in your purpose, walking in power, and producing results that shake nations. That kind of life doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. And not just one choice, but 1,000 small, consistent choices that most people are too distracted or too discouraged to make. See, it's easy to sit back and hope things will improve. We hope the job will get better. We hope the finances will change. We hope the right people will come along. But hope without action is just a quiet excuse. It feels like faith, but it functions like fear, because it lets you sit still while telling yourself you're moving forward. There came a point in my life where I had to be honest with myself. I was broke, yes, but not just financially. I was broke in my habits, broke in my discipline, broke in my focus. I kept telling myself I wanted success, but I wasn't doing what successful people do. I kept saying I was meant for more, but I wasn't making time to become more. And one day I looked in the mirror and realized my life is not a reflection of my desire, it's a reflection of my decision. Getting better takes intention. That means getting up when the alarm goes off, not because you feel like it, but because you're becoming someone. That means reading the book instead of binging the show. That means going to the seminar, investing in the mentor, doing the work, especially when it's inconvenient, especially when it's uncomfortable. You see, most people are not held back by a lack of potential, they're held back by a lack of intention. They live in reaction mode instead of creation mode. They wait for life to happen instead of deciding how they're going to show up in it. They confuse being busy with being productive. But intention isn't about activity, it's about alignment. It's about aiming your actions toward who you want to become every single day. Now let me tell you something I've learned from experience. Life will always give you what you tolerate. Not what you want, not what you dream about, what you tolerate. If you tolerate average, you'll live in it. If you tolerate excuses, they'll multiply. But the moment you raise your standard and say no more, that's the moment your life starts to change. You want to unlock your potential? Be intentional. Decide what you're going to think. Decide how you're going to speak. Decide what you're going to sow, and watch what starts to grow. Nothing changes until you do. And when you finally choose to live on purpose, with purpose, for purpose, everything around you begins to align with the person you're becoming. Because better doesn't happen by accident, it only happens by intention. And that's a decision you can make right now. Time is either your investment or your excuse. Rich or poor, young or old, black, white, brown. It doesn't matter. Time is the only true equalizer on this planet. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose energy and get some rest, but once time is gone, it's gone. And what separates those who build legacies from those who live in regret isn't talent. It's not luck. It's what they do with their time. See, most people don't have a money problem, they have a time problem. They say they want to grow a business, write a book, build a brand, get closer to God, strengthen their relationships, but then they spend 3 hours a day scrolling on a phone, 2 hours complaining, and another 4 doing things that don't move them any closer to their destiny. And then they say, I don't have time. No, the truth is, you didn't make time, you didn't assign your time, you didn't respect your time, because time is not just something you spend, it's something you steward. And how you steward your time is a mirror of how seriously you take your calling. I had to learn that. I used to treat my time like it was unlimited. I'd say, I'll get to it later, not realizing that later was costing me my future. I was putting off purpose like it had a return policy. But time doesn't negotiate. Time doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It keeps moving whether you move or not. But then something changed. I realized time could either be my enemy or my ally. I started treating my minutes like money. I started asking myself, what am I getting in return for this hour? Every moment became a choice between progress or procrastination. And when I started investing my time reading, learning, building, serving, the return was exponential. Doors opened, ideas flowed, my confidence grew. Why? Because I stopped spending time and started planting it. And just like money invested in the right place multiplies, time invested in the right habits compounds into greatness. Every day you wake up, you are holding a treasure. The only question is, will you waste it or will you work it? Will you blame the clock? Or will you own the calendar? Don't let I don't have time be the story you repeat until your last breath. Let it be the lie you kill so you can finally live the truth. Because the truth is, you do have time. The question is, are you treating it like an excuse or an investment in the future only you can build? The power of personal growth. Daily deposits into your destiny. You don't build a legacy in one day. You build it with what you do every day. Brick by brick, choice by choice, word by word. It's not the big flashy moments that shape your future. It's the quiet, consistent ones when no one's watching. That's where the real growth happens. That's where your destiny is being written. You want to change your life? Then change what you do with your day. Change what you do with your morning. Change what you do in those small moments when nobody's clapping and no one's validating you. Because that's where champions are made. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, in the repetition, in the habits, in the grind. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you're making a deposit into your destiny. And here's the beautiful thing about personal growth. It compounds, it multiplies. Just like interest in a high return account, your small efforts done consistently begin to produce something massive. That 15 minutes you spend reading instead of scrolling, compound that over a year, and you've consumed enough wisdom to change your mindset forever. That one habit you stick with, waking up early, journaling, planning your goals, compound that over 5 years, and you're living a completely different life. I remember when I first committed to personal growth. I wasn't trying to impress anybody. I wasn't chasing applause. I just knew something had to change. So I started simple, reading a page a day, writing down goals, listening to sermons and business strategies in the car instead of music that just filled the silence. And at first it didn't look like much. Nobody noticed. But I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for me, for the man I knew I was supposed to become. And slowly things started to shift. My confidence grew. My vision got clearer. My speech got sharper. Doors that were once shut started to open, but only after I started showing up differently. Not louder, not flashier, just stronger. And that strength came from the inside out, built in silence, forged in consistency, grown one day at a time. Most people underestimate what they can do in a year of focused growth because they're addicted to overnight success. But listen, seeds don't sprout because you yell at them. They sprout because you nurture them. They sprout because you stay faithful in the planting, the watering, the waiting. So don't despise small beginnings. Don't dismiss small efforts. Those small acts of obedience, those small steps forward, those are sacred, those are divine, those are destiny deposits. Every time you show up and do the work, especially when you don't feel like it, you're making a down payment on the future version of you. The one who walks in clarity, the one who leads with wisdom, the one who stands on stages, builds businesses, breaks generational curses. But that version of you won't show up by accident. That version of you is waiting on your consistency. So start today. Do something small, do something uncomfortable, do something intentional, because personal growth is not a luxury, it's a requirement. And every small step you take is a signal to your future that you're serious about becoming who you were created to be. Make the decision, be the masterpiece and the work in progress. One of the biggest lies the world has sold us is that we have to be either perfect or broken, that we can't be both growing and valuable at the same time. But I'm here to tell you something that changed my life, and I hope it wrecks every excuse in yours. You are already a masterpiece, even as you are still becoming. See, when God made you, he didn't make a mistake. He didn't say, well, let me try again with this one. No. He said, this one is fearfully and wonderfully made. He placed gifts, talents, and purpose deep inside of you, waiting to be discovered. Not to make you worthy, but because you already are. But hear me, it's not enough to just be. You have to also become. Too many people are waiting to feel ready before they move, waiting to be fully polished before they step into the assignment. But that's not how this works. You walk into your calling with the clay still wet. You step onto the battlefield with the armor still clanking loose around your shoulders, because it's not your perfection that gives you power, it's your progress. I had to make a decision that even in my flaws, I was going to move forward. That even while I was healing, I was going to build. That even while I was growing, I could still teach, still lead, still show up. Because here's the truth. Nobody ever arrives, and if they say they have, they're lying. We are all works in progress. And we are all already enough. When I finally understood that, I stopped waiting. I stopped disqualifying myself. I stopped comparing my beginning to someone else's middle, I realized that growth is not disqualification, it's evidence of commitment. And when you embrace the duality of being both the artwork and the artist, both the construction site and the cornerstone, everything changes. There is power in saying, I'm not there yet, but I'm not who I used to be. There is power in owning your journey without shame, because the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more honest ones. It needs leaders who are willing to grow in public. It needs warriors who limp but still lead. Builders who bleed but still build. Creators who cry but still create. So make the decision. Stop waiting to become and decide to become. Start where you are, use what you have, take the next best step. And when doubt shows up whispering, you're not ready, you remind it, I'm both the masterpiece and the work in progress, and I'm moving anyway. You were never meant to be a finished product in this life. You were meant to evolve, to rise, to transform daily. And every decision you make to keep going, to keep growing, to keep believing, that's when the masterpiece gets revealed through the process. That's when purpose starts echoing in every room you walk into. So don't wait to be whole to walk. Walk now, build now, lead now, and let the masterpiece emerge as you do.